Hi everyone. So in today's video, it's going to be a little different from my usual videos. I will be painting the seascape using watercolors while I'll be chatting about art. Now, when I say chatting about art, I'm going to be basically chatting about what makes me choose my subjects and mediums I use, as well as what I want to portray with my art, as well as tips on using a sketchbook, which I've recently been doing, and also some things that I use to motivate myself or to get inspired to create, and also how I deal with artist blocks. So if you'd like to join in and sketch with me while I'm chatting, then you can just grab a sketchbook or whatever piece you're working on, and you can get started with it when I'm busy with this one, or you can even just sit back and listen to the chat if you want to. That's also perfectly all right. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so now when it comes to my art, usually I want to create something that's visually pleasing. It must be something that people can look at and say that there's something that catches their eye. Either it's the textures that I've done, or it's the colors I've used, or it's the realism that I've portrayed using the various mediums that I use. So sometimes, for example, if it's a maybe a tiger or a lion portrait, I want to portray their majestic presence. Or if it's a flower, maybe the texture, maybe the transition between different colors from one color fading into another color, the texture of fur or the texture of a certain plant, or maybe the landscape to create the depth of a landscape. All of these are little things that I look for when I'm looking for reference photos or thinking of ideas of what I want to paint or draw. And even when I'm selecting a reference photo, I usually go through them and I just think, okay, what sticks out to me, what stands out at that moment. Sometimes in that moment, I may want to paint. If I see a bird, I want to do a bird, maybe in paint or maybe with color pencil. It all depends on the texture and the colors that are in the reference photo or of the subject that I'm doing. So that also plays a big part in how I choose my subjects in my reference photo. It depends on what I want to portray, which also is something that I have a thought of emotionally what I feel like doing. What is like getting my attention? What am I really driven to want to draw or paint at this moment? So usually that's also something that I look at when I am choosing my reference or preparing or planning my artworks, whether it's for painting or whether it's for color pencil or even graphite, whatever medium. I'm usually just looking for something that really catches my attention and that I'm feeling in the moment that I want to create that. And the vision I have in my mind that, okay, I want to portray this. For example, if I'm doing a sketch of a tree, why do I want to do a sketch of the tree? I want to portray the texture of the wood, of the trunk. I want to maybe portray the leaves or the different branches and how they laid out, or the entire tree, how it blends into the background, whatever the case is. Those are the kind of thoughts I have when I'm choosing my pieces. And yeah, that's basically what I do with when it comes to picking the subjects and also picking my mediums to some extent of what I'm using. Now, when it comes to sketchbooks, recently I've been starting to sketch a lot in my sketchbook. And I've actually come to realize that I don't always have to have this perfect, um, detailed piece that I have, like a painting or a color pencil drawing, which takes longer time to create. I can sometimes just do something simple and something that's much quicker. And I can also have fun at doing that. Not that I don't have fun doing my bigger pieces, but something in between the big pieces to take a break from those or to even get inspired for something, planning for another big piece or my next big piece. So also I've noticed with the sketchbooks is that I can experiment a lot. I can try different techniques, I can try different mediums, I can even try drawing different subjects, even practicing subjects that I'm not that good at. I can practice it. Like recently I've been practicing hands. I haven't been able to draw very nice hands, so I've been actually taking photos of my own hand and then trying to sketch it out in the sketchbook. So that actually has helped a lot as well for me to try to get into learning and also advancing my skills as well. So definitely, I would recommend to anyone to keep a sketchbook and just sketch in it. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad, just sketch, because that's what's going to make your abilities and your skills for drawing improve. And you're going to also be able to plan I mean, something you may draw in a sketchbook, maybe just a rough sketch, and you end up turning it into a beautiful masterpiece, or an oil painting, or an acrylic painting, or a color pencil detailed drawing. So you never know what can happen and what you can draw. You'll be surprised at some of the stuff that you can actually have that's in a sketchbook that's really good work. So that's my bit about sketchbooks. Now, when it comes to my motivation and inspiration, that's something that sometimes you don't have. You may wake up today and feel motivated and inspired to create art, and then the next day you may not feel that way. But you don't need to wait around for motivation or inspiration to strike. You can just go in and start drawing or painting, whatever it is. Just go in and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to start painting. Randomly pick a picture, a reference photo, and then just draw it or sketch it. And then once you get into that habit of sketching it, then you can go in and start working on maybe transferring it onto a canvas and then doing the actual painting of whatever it is that you wanted to do. Recently, I've also experienced this with a painting I'm working on where I was motivated. I started painting off. I was very happy with it, and then I just didn't feel so good about it. And mostly that was comes all down to me being afraid that I'm going to mess up the painting because it was coming out all right, and I feel if I work more on it, I'm going to actually spoil what progress I've made. And that's actually not the right mindset to have. You need to experiment, and if it doesn't turn out right, you can always do it again. And I have said this before, and this is something I also struggle with from time to time, that you just need to work at it and see how it goes. If it doesn't turn out the way you want, like in this case, it's a painting, just paint over it and redo it. It's not going to be um, devastating. It's yes, it's disappointing it didn't come out right, but you know now after going through that part that these are the mistakes I've made and this is what I can improve on, and you know what to avoid when you're doing it the second time or the third time even. So yeah, just go in and start working on a piece. If you ever feel stuck or suffer from artist block, where you just can't get a piece going, or you work on it for about 5 minutes and then or an hour and you're not happy with the results, just keep going. If you keep going, you will be able to see your progress, and you'll actually see that you'll pass the ugly stage. Every painting and drawing has an ugly stage. Goes to the ugly stage, and you have to get through that stage before you can get to the better stages and where your work actually looks good and the way you want it to look. So that's definitely something that I also struggle with from time to time. But when it comes back to motivation and inspiration, if you really get stuck during a painting session or when you really just cannot get that paint onto the canvas, take a break from it, do something else. Either do another smaller piece in your sketchbook, as I said before, or maybe even just spend some time doing something else. Take a walk, look outside, look at the birds, look at the plants. Those are things that can actually inspire you. I mean, sometimes I just look at the sky and the sunset, or I see those clouds and the sunlight shining on leaves, for example, and that may make me feel like going in and doing some drawings or sketches or paintings. So that automatically will help trigger it off. Or even you can just spend some time maybe listening to music, reading a book. Even if you want to watch TV a little bit, you can maybe watch a movie, and that may inspire you to create, especially with something that has a lot of creativity in it, or it's an animation movie. It may trigger off wanting to create a character of your own or something like that. Also, just maybe spending time, maybe just even playing with your pets, that also can make you feel like, okay, I'm relaxed now, and then now I'm, you know what, relaxed and I'm calm, let me go and start working on my painting. So all of these little things can help. Just taking a break, stepping away from your painting, doing something else, and then you'll see once you step away, you actually feel like going back to your painting. I know sometimes you can feel if you're stepping away from your painting, it feels as if you are abandoning your painting, or you feel guilty. I should be painting instead of doing this, and that's not the right attitude to have. And that I've personally experienced myself, where I used to feel that way. That okay, I'm reading a book instead of doing my painting. I should be using this time for the painting. But sometimes you need that time for your brain to sort of relax and calm itself, because when you start a painting, there's a lot of thoughts going on. There's this big thought process in your mind telling you what you're going to do, what you want to achieve, how are you going to get this, how are you going to achieve this texture, how are you going to achieve the look of the fur, how are you going to achieve the eyes, whatever it is, you depending on what you're painting or drawing. You think of all these things when you're painting, so it can be nerve-wracking. It can also be to an extent stressful, in the sense that not stressful. Art is relaxing, but in an artist's mind, you think so much that you can actually find it overwhelming. Not stressful. Overwhelming is the word I was looking for. And you can feel, no, now I'm not able to produce it. I'm not going to be able to get it. You already set yourself up for disappointment or failure when you haven't even tried yet. So go in and start working on it, and just if you need to step away, do something else. I know I have mentioned in a previous video that try to limit TV, but as I said, don't completely cut it out. I cannot do that either. I still keep my TV in there, watch a movie or watch an episode of your favorite TV series, whatever it is, documentary, anything. Just watch something, or even watch a YouTube video, look at other artists' work and see how they create it. Sometimes watching other artists create can also help trigger a creativity in you as well, or even spend time tidying up your studio and neatening everything, making everything easy to access, and that also can help you to get you to actually work through your painting and get to your painting, and not procrastinate or not go back to your painting. But sometimes you need that break just to get you to, start doing your artwork and getting creative. So yeah, I think those are some of the things that I want to share about my art and how I look at art and my what I want to portray, and using sketchbooks, and where I get my inspiration and motivation from, which you can also get from just browsing um, your reference photos. Sometimes something can just, you see it and then you just want to draw it. That can also help you to trigger off your inspiration and motivation and ideas, and you can just start thinking one idea of the after the other, and just have all these things going on that you want to create, and then you automatically get into it and then you start creating. And that's another way that you can also get inspired. Yeah, I've been rambling on for a while now, but these are just some of the things that I've personally been using. It may be helpful to some of you, not everything, but it may be something that can maybe assist you in your art, in your art journey, and just wanted to share it with you, and just speak about my art and how I approach my art and how I create my pieces that I create. And also what I've recently been doing. That's why I've been doing so much of sketchbook art too, as you'll see on my channel. Although I still have a lot of fun with my main pieces, and I've got my color pencil pieces and my acrylic paintings and things that I'm doing much more detailed work with. And those are obviously, I mean, even I've got some watercolor pieces that have got a lot of detail in there. So yeah, you can have fun with that as well. You can have fun with the sketchbook, whatever works for you. Whether you just want to do a sketch or a drawing or do something more detailed and do a big painting, just go for it, do it, and see how that goes for you. Don't give it too much of thought. Just sometimes you just got to go in and start working. And once you start with it, you automatically realize, you know what, now I'm feeling motivated to carry on with this piece. I want to see where it goes. Or I'm feeling inspired now. I think I've got an idea to add on to the background, or add this. I think I want to add this to the foreground, or whatever it is. And yeah, and then you can actually create a piece that you'll be so proud of, and you'll be very happy with that. So yeah, I think that's it for today's video. I know I have been rambling for a while, but I just want to say thank you to everyone who's watched, and I hope some of this has been or can be helpful to you with your art. These are just my experiences and my take on things of how I do things with my art, and how I approach my art, and how I create my artworks. We have find inspiration, motivation. Um, as I said, practice is important, so use your sketchbook, practice if that works for you. And yeah, so I guess that's all for today's video. Thanks again so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to hit the like button, don't forget to share, and don't forget to subscribe. Till the next one, bye.